I'm Dr. Kristen R. Bromley. This video series, which is part of my online music academy, specifically accompanies the Tablature Book from my Method Book series. Like all my books, this selection is available to purchase through Amazon and Google Play. For help, see the links in the description below. In the videos which are part of this specific course, I progress through the lessons in the Tablature Book, explaining and demonstrating concepts and playing each of the songs and exercises contained therein, so you can hear how they sound and play them right along with me. You are of course welcome to view these videos with or without the book, but with the book you can work through all the songs and exercises, and in the process develop your melodic playing ability while also mastering the skill of reading music written in tablature. Alright, let's get to jamming in this lesson. Hi there, welcome! So delighted to have you joining me. In this video, we're going to be discussing tablature basics and getting started by doing numbers 1 through 20. It's going to be great. Let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to be on pages 7 through 20, starting on page 7 with the tablature basics. So it's important that we understand what tablature is and how it works before we actually can play songs using it. So I've got some examples here on the board. You also have some there on page 7. So tablature is a type of notation specific to the guitar. So there's musical notation where there's lines and spaces on a staff that represent actual individual pitches or sounds. That is universal. Music notation is universal to all instruments. All instruments can read notes on normal music notation. Guitar tablature is a type of notation that's specific to the guitar, and it actually dates back way before we were even bothering with music notation on guitar and such, because the fretted instruments are pretty complicated. So we have lute music, and the guitar kind of came from the lute. It's one of the instruments that we came from, the vihuela, back in our ancestry, these fretted instruments. And so tablature was used because it's kind of complicated to figure out where notes are, and on fretted instruments they oftentimes repeat. So we have, for example, this top string is the same on the next string at the 5th fret, is the same on the next string at the 9th fret, is the same on the next string at the 14th fret, and so on. So when reading notes, it can be kind of difficult because we have all these options for ways to play one note. Whereas, a lot of instruments like the piano, for example, have one place to play a specific note. Guitar, a little different that way. And so tablature simplified that. And for us, tablature can be a window into helping us learn songs that would otherwise be too difficult for us to play as we're learning how to read music notation. Now, it is good to learn to read music notation, and in the Method Book series, we have note reading books where you can actually do that. And that's a great skill to develop, and you can play a lot more music. Nobody actually had to tab out or figure out how to play the music for you and sort of help you learn it. But tablature is also a great tool. It's very important to know how to do it, because some music, say on the internet, not officially published per se, not professionally published per se, might use tablature. And then of course with lots of professional music that's published, tablature is written there to help us learn these songs. And so we'll go ahead and dive in. Now, the difference between tablature is that while there's lines and spaces, each one of these lines and spaces represents a string on the guitar. And actually, I shouldn't say the spaces. The spaces with tablature don't really represent anything, though with music notation, the spaces do represent an actual pitch. With guitar, we're just worried about, on the tablature, the actual lines, which represent strings on the guitar. So there, sort of in the middle top part of the page 7, you can see a tablature staff, 6 lines. We have a 6-string guitar, 6 lines. Each line represents a string on the guitar. So here on the board, we have an example of the tablature with 6 lines, and then you usually see the word tab written off to the left in published music. So up above, to kind of help us visualize this, I've drawn a little bit of the guitar around the tablature staff. So we see the headstock here, and the nut, and then the body of the guitar. So one of the challenges with reading tabs that I find for some students is that they want it to sort of mirror straight across. So this low string should therefore be the top line of the tablature diagram. Well, that's backwards actually. Instead, it sort of follows the way normal music notation goes. The higher a pitch sounds, or the higher a string sounds, the higher it's placed on the tablature diagram there, or the tablature staff. The higher a pitch sounds on a music notation staff, the higher that pitch is situated on that staff. So that's how that works. So the top string is the top line. So top string being string 1, being our smallest string, being our highest sounding string. That's the top line. The next line is the next string down. So the second string, or the B string. Top string, E string, or first string, and second string, second line. Third string, G, or third line there. Then D is the fourth, fifth is the A, and then the low E. So the lowest sounding string is the bottom line on the tablature staff. The highest sounding string is the top line on the tablature staff. That's simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this kind of helps us orient it. When you look at the page, if you look down at your guitar, or if you were to flip your guitar around so it faced you, that's how those lines are. Highest line is that highest sounding string. Okay, so then we have numbers, and you'll see that there on page 7, sort of the next example. You'll see the tablature diagram, or the tablature staff written out, I should say. This isn't exactly a diagram. When we're learning chords, we get tablature diagrams that help us figure out how to play that chord, and we see that in the chords and harmony books. Here we're going to mostly be playing single lines almost through the entire book, one note at a time. A couple places where we might play a couple, or we might strum a chord, but mostly we're playing single line melodies, which is fun. So you're going to see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what written on each one of those lines? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 on that top line, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the next line, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 on that next line, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So on each one of those lines we see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what do these numbers represent? Well, the numbers tell us what frets to play on that particular string. So 0 tells us to play the open string. So no frets. So the open top string, and so forth. On the bottom of the page we see a couple of examples there, and that's exactly what we see. Open, 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 open. Playing strings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Fret 1 is the first fret. Fret 2 is the second fret, so number 1, number 2, and so on. So fret 1. If it's written on that top string, 1, 2, 3, 4, I could go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 on this guitar. A lot of guitars don't go that high, but this one does. So fret all the way up to 22 on this particular guitar. So any number written on the top string, or the top line, is going to tell me to play that fret on the top string. So that's how that works. And we see some of these examples. So over here on the board I've written out a little like teaser. We've got 3 written on the top line. So that means I'm going to play the 3rd fret on the top string. Maybe you could find that. So then the next one that's written there is a 0 on the 2nd line. So that means I'm going to play the 2nd string open. Then I am back to that top line with a number 1. So I'm going to play the 1st fret on that top line. And then I see a number 2 on the 3rd line down from the top. So the 3rd string, and I would play the 2nd fret. So that's how that works. Now we're going to jump in and start playing some songs with this tablature, reading from the tablature. But before we do, we got to look at rhythm. I do want to mention there at the bottom of on page 7, we have 2 examples sort of some different types of tablature. The one on the left is the way we're going to see things in the book, where the actual music notation that's universal to all instruments will be written up on top, and then the tablature will be below, telling us how to play it. So those 2 staves are going to run parallel to each other, and they will always line up. The note above will line up with what is being told to play in the tablature below. On the right, you'll see sort of a makeshift version. If you're into looking up songs on the internet and finding where people have sort of explained how to play it, you're going to a lot of times see things written out in tablature like that. It works the same. I've used like a word processing program to sort of create lines and then put numbers in where they go. It can be a little less polished, so to speak, but it's still totally readable. And with those ones, you don't see the actual music notation written above. As a little secret, I read music so well at this point in my music playing career that I usually forego the tablature. I will often arrange in tablature to remind myself where I wanted something to be played if I'm composing something or doing an arrangement, but I don't usually read the tablature first. I find the notation easier, and you might as well if you get into the notation, and then you can use this book as a repertoire book to practice with reading actual notes. But some of the songs in here are going to get complicated as we get towards that number 200, so it's very helpful to use the tablature as well. So we'll dive in. We'll go over to page 8 now, talk about a little rhythm, and then we'll start playing some songs. Okay, so here we are on page 8. We're talking about the rhythm now. With tablature, in most types of tablature, and certainly most published music, we're only going to see the rhythmic values written in the actual music notation up above, sort of the standard music notation. And we're just going to see the numbers on the tablature, helping us know how to play those. I'm just going to give a little bit of an introduction into the rhythm, because if you're going through the lesson, you're going to be learning sort of the rhythmic components of the melodies that we're playing from me. Tablature is most helpful when we are familiar with the sound of the song we're trying to play, and it just helps us sort of figure out how to play that on the guitar. And so a lot of times we're trying to figure out songs that we're highly familiar with, and when we're not familiar with the song, the best way to sort of get prepared to play that song or to help with learning that song even through the tablature is to listen to it. And as we play, I'll demonstrate what these sound like, and that's one of the values of these lessons. But it's helpful and it's good to know a little bit about rhythm. I won't go as deep, though, as we go into rhythm in, say, the note reading books within the Method Book series, where we have to actually read the notation values as we're playing the music that we're playing. But, so, the way it works in music notation is that the size, the shape, you could say, of the note that's on the musical staff, the standard musical notation staff, tells us how long each pitch should hold for. There's also rests, periods where we're not going to be playing, periods of silence. Those are ways of describing that. So there on page 8 you have some of the most common rhythms. I have them up here on the board. A whole note looks just like an open oval circle, and the whole rest, some people like to say it looks kind of like a gentleman tipping his hat as it hangs onto one of those lines on the staff. And so 4 counts for the whole note or whole rest. Then if we go down and if we actually cut it in half, I'm going to go to this one next. It's an open circle or open oval with a stem. The stem can point up or down. In this case, all of the examples here on the board, the stem points up, but in actual musical notation, we'll see it point up or down depending on where it's positioned. So a stem pointing up tells us it's a half note. It's worth half the value of a whole note, so 2 counts. The half rest sits on the line instead of hanging on the line. So it sits on the line below where this one would hang on it. Now, if we add a dot next to the half note or next to the half rest, it actually makes it worth 3 counts instead of 2. So a whole note or whole rest is worth 4. Dotted half note is worth 3. Dotted half rest is worth 3. Half note is worth 2. Half rest is worth 2. As we move on, when that oval becomes solid with a stem, we have a quarter note, and it's worth 1. The quarter rest looks kind of like a squiggly line. You can see the published versions of each of these instead of my handwritten versions. The published version always looks a little nicer than my handwritten scribble, but that's worth 1 count. From there on, we start subdividing that 1 beat, which is usually that quarter note or that 1 count. We start dividing it in half. So when we go to an 8th note, which is worth 1/8 the value of a whole note, it's worth half a count. We're going to see a stem and then a flag on the stem for 1 note, and if we have more than one, they usually beam together. So rather than seeing several 8th notes with flags, we'll see them beam together. So a beam or the flag is what determines that this has become an 8th note instead of a quarter note when we see that filled in circle with a stem. The 8th rest looks kind of like a Y with a little fancy dot there, and we see those from time to time. Cut that in half when we get to the 16th notes. Now we're talking 2 beams or 2 flags or 2 little parts of a Y. It kind of looks like a Y, you could say. And it's worth 1/4 a beat or a count. It's worth 1/16 a whole note. So we're not going to be using a lot of 8th notes and 16th notes as we get started. We'll save those till later when we work on some songs with more involved rhythms. As we get started with the tablature, we're going to be doing more simple things with whole notes and half notes, dotted half notes, and quarter notes. And we'll also see some of those rests from time to time. Now, when music is written, it's usually divided into equal units, you could say, equal measurements of time. These are called measures. The way they're written is with bar lines that run vertically across the staff. So there on the page 8, you're going to see what a measure looks like in the example with music notation, because it's got the 5 lines and the 4 spaces. So that's for standard music notation. It looks the same as what I have here when we have the 6 lines for tablature notation, and they just run across. Each one of these spaces will have the same number of beats inside of it. At the beginning of a song in the standard music notation, we're going to see a time signature written. You can see the example there next to the clef sign. Clef sign sort of helps us know what pitches on normal music notation that each line or space represents. It's not going to matter. In guitar, we usually use treble clef, so that's what we're going to see all throughout this book in the music notation, even though we're going to be reading the tablature, where we don't have a clef sign. Instead, we have that word tab there to let us know these are tabs. That's what these lines are. So this, though, these time signatures tell us how many counts are per measure. So the top line tells us how many of the bottom number are there. So let me re-explain. So a lot of times in elementary school and so on, we're told the top number in a time signature, that's if you've done music classes that have done this in elementary school, but the top number tells us how many beats are in a measure, and the bottom number tells us what type of note equals 1 beat. And so a 4 represents a quarter note. If we saw a 2, that would be a half note. If we saw a 1, it would be a whole note. If we saw an 8, it would be an 8th note. If we saw a 16, it would be a 16th note. Most of the music that we play on the guitar is in 4/4 time or 3/4 time, 2/4 time. Sometimes we'll see some other things, 2/2 time or 6/8 time. In this book, most things are in 4/4 or 3/4, occasional 2/4, and as we progress forward, we'll even see some 6/8. But another way to look at it is that this top number tells us how many of the bottom number there are. So 4 quarter notes per measure, or the rhythmic equivalent of that. In this 3/4 time, 3 quarter notes per measure, or the rhythmic equivalent. 2/4 time, 2 quarter notes per measure, or the rhythmic equivalent. 6/8, 6/8 notes per measure, or the rhythmic equivalent. So the rhythmic equivalent could mean, sure, I could have 4 quarter notes, that equals 4 counts. I could also have 1 whole note, that equals 4 counts. I could have 2 half notes, that equals 1 count. 1 half note and 2 quarter notes also equals 4 counts. So it just needs to equal the rhythmic equivalent of 4 in each measure. So we're going to be seeing that as we go through, though most of the rhythm will be inferred as I help you learn these songs and exercises. Okay, so we're ready to dive in. This is going to be great. We'll go on over to page 9 and start playing some of these songs and exercises, starting with number 1. Okay, so here we are on page 9. We're starting off with number 1, as I have indicated on the board. Now, before we play number 1, which is an exercise to help us orient ourselves with reading tablature, we're just going to kind of get oriented with the guitar. Some of you may have been playing a lot prior to starting this book, and maybe you're just wanting to get good at tablature, so it might be a little easier for you. Some of you may be completely brand new to the guitar, just getting started on learning tablature. Maybe you're also working on notes and chords, or just one of those other things. So that's great. You might be working on all these things at once. Technical ability and guitar, just familiarity, maybe a little bit slower. So we're going to start with just sort of a little bit of a game, you could say, where I'll play a spot on the guitar, tell you where I'm at, you find it and play it back to me. We'll just go back and forth a little bit. So let's practice with the open strings. We have the open first string, or the top string. So I'm going to play that open string, you play that open string. I'm going to play it again, playing that open top string, you play that open top string. So first string, open, first string, open, first string, open, first string, open. Let's do the next string, second string, open, 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 second string, open. Let's do the third string, open, third string, open, third string, open, third string, third string, third string. Let's take a moment and talk about how I'm actually plucking the strings. You might want to use your thumb or use a pick. We've talked in the introductory materials on how to hold a pick. I'm using a pick, but I've found from teaching so many students over the years that for some using a pick at first is just too much. They'd rather use their thumb and then later go on and learn how to use the pick. Ideally, speed-wise, tone-wise, in the long run, we want to be able to use the pick, but we may not need to necessarily do that right off the top as we're learning how to play, and we got to worry about so many things at once. Sometimes the security of just plucking with the thumb is helpful. I'm plucking down towards the ground. I'm anchoring my wrist back actually near the bridge, kind of on the bridge. On the low strings, I can set my hand there, since we're not playing those right now, and pluck these high strings completely open without interfering with those, and so that anchor can help us establish sort of a good technique. You may want to do that. You certainly don't have to, but you may want to. If you're floating around trying to find each one willy-nilly each time, it takes a lot longer to gain control, but if we just anchor that wrist right there, my fingers are tucked in holding my pick, or anchor the wrist, or fingers, you could anchor your fingers if you needed to, plucking with the thumb. And if the thumb I'm going to pluck down, I'm going to hit this inside part and just kind of pluck off the meaty part. With the guitar, with the guitar pick, I'm just going to pluck down. I have a little bit of that pick showing, and I'm going to anchor my wrist, and that really helps. So those are the open strings. Let's play that little game. I'll jump around a little bit more. So we got the top string, third string, okay? How about the second string? Let's go back to the third string, go up to that top string, back to that third string. How about that second string? How about that top string? How about that third string? How about that top string? How about the second string? How about back to the top string? Okay, how about that low string? The third string, I should say. We're not actually playing the low strings yet. Okay, let's work on with these ones with the frets. Now, when I play with my fingers on a fret, what I want to do is assign my index finger to the first fret, my middle finger to the second fret, my ring finger to the third fret, and if I played with my pinky, I would assign it to the fourth fret. For the first 139, I think, songs in this book, and there's a few exercises throughout, they will only be playing in the first 4 frets and with the open string. That's known as open position or first position because our index finger is placed at the first fret. We determine position along the fretboard of the guitar neck based on what fret our index finger is at, and then we know that the other fingers just sort of line up in succession. So here in first position we got the open strings, and then first fret, second fret, third fret, and fourth fret. If I shift up higher and say put my index finger at the 5th fret, now I'm in 5th position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, index, middle, ring, pinky. So later on in the book, starting with number 140, we're going to be moving up the neck and working on these positions. If right now I get really good at always playing those notes that are in the first fret with my index finger, those notes in the second fret with my middle finger, and those notes in the third fret with my ring finger, then I am set up really great for when we move higher. In the first 20 songs and so on, we won't even be using our pinky. Later on, we'll get into using the pinky at the 4th fret, but we're going to start out with just the first 3 frets in this video with numbers 1 through 20. So, we'll practice this, and as we do, you want to try and use those fingers right where they go in those frets. So index finger is finger number 1. And so right now it lines up. Fret 1 is finger 1, or index finger. Fret 2 is finger 2, or middle finger. Fret 3 is ring finger, or finger number 3. Okay, so just on that high string, let's jump around a little bit with the frets. Now, my left hand, I've sort of got my thumb positioned kind of behind the 2nd fret, and I'm allowing my fingers to push the strings down against that. As I place my fingers on the frets, I want to be on the tips of my fingers, not on the flat part. I don't play the guitar flat-fingered for the most part. There's times where I'll flatten out or use my finger as sort of a bar, but mostly when I'm playing single lines, my fingers are playing each one of those notes on the tips. And then the best place to position your finger within that space of the fret is right behind the metal fret bar, maybe a millimeter or 2. I don't want to get on it or I'll mute it in kind of a funny way, and I don't want to get too far away or I won't be able to get a tone out, but a couple millimeters behind or as close as you can without touching it. Those are where we want to position those fingers. And I'm just curled around on my tips. Okay, so on the top string, let's practice with the frets. So we're just going to be on the top E string, so top line of our tablature staff, we could say, and I'm going to just have us jump back and forth. I'll yell out a fret number, and you play that one, and then we'll go on with that game. So fret 1, fret 2, fret 3. Let's do it again. Fret 1, fret 2, fret 3. Let's do it again. Fret 1, fret 2, fret 3. Let's go the other way. Fret 3, fret 2, fret 1. Again, and fret 3, fret 2, fret 1. One more time. Fret 3, fret 2, fret 1. It's kind of funny to say fret 1, fret 2, fret 3. Joking around. Who needs more frets? 3 frets, 2 frets, 1 fret. Anyway, it's kind of funny. Okay, so we'll jump around a little bit now. So here we go. 1, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 3, 1. Okay, let's go on and look at the 2nd string now and do it on there. So we're going to start with fret 1, fret 2, fret 3, back to fret 2, fret 1. Let's do it again. Fret 2, fret 3, fret 2, fret 1. Okay, let's jump around a little bit. So fret 3, fret 1, fret 2, fret 1, fret 3, fret 2, fret 3, fret 1. Okay, let's do it on the 3rd string. So, first fret there, we're going to go ready, and you got 1, let's do 2, let's do 3, let's do 3, let's do 2, let's do 1, let's do 1, let's do 2, let's do 3, let's do 2, let's do 1. Now you might say, Kristen, you're being inconsistent in the way you're doing it. I'm trying to be a little bit random so that your mind has to think about where you need to be and where you have to find it and jump around. Let's jump around a little bit now. So you got fret 1, fret 3, fret 2, fret 3, fret 1, fret 3, fret 2, fret 3, fret 1. Okay, if we were to throw in the open strings on that 3rd string, we'll add that one to it. So you're going to start with 0, go to 3, go to 1, go to 2, go to open, go to 3, go to 2, go to open, go to 1. So there's some random ones. We could do that with the 2nd string. Here we go, starting on 3, and then open, 1, open, 2, open, 3, 1. Let's do the top string now. Start with 2, 2, open, 3, 1, open, 3. Okay, and then the trick will be jumping between strings. So if we start, I'm going to go randomly between any of those. Here we go. So we'll start on the 3rd fret, 1st string. So 1st string, 3rd fret. How about the open 1st string? Then we'll jump to the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, 2nd fret of the 3rd string, open 3rd string, open 2nd string, 2nd fret of that string, 1st fret of that string, 3rd fret of that string, open 3rd string, 3rd fret top string, 1st fret 1st string, open E, open 2nd string, 1st fret 2nd string, 2nd fret 3rd string, open 3rd string. Okay, so with that kind of orientation, we're ready to play number 1, where we're actually going to be reading these. We'll take it nice and slow. I'll say them out loud as we're playing them. Here we go. I'm going to give us a 4 beat sort of count in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Speaking of measures, you're going to see that we are in 4/4 time when you look up at the standard music notation. You'll also see that all the rhythms are quarter notes, so we don't have to worry about playing any rhythm different than that. We'll just play each note equally, and we'll just go for playing them all. Okay, here we go. Just on the first line, we're just going to worry about the first line of number 1. 1, 2, ready, and we have the open top string. Then fret 1, the open again. Then we have 3, 1, 1, oh. Let's do that much again, a little bit faster. 1, 2, ready, and we have open. 1st fret, open, if we continue on to the 2nd line, that first measure, we got 4 plucks on that open string. Let's look at that 2nd line now. Nice and slow. We'll start on that first measure with that open string. So you got 1, 2, ready, and we've got the open, 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 open. Now the open 2nd string. 1st fret, 3rd fret, 1st fret, 3rd fret, open, 3rd fret. Let's do it again, that 2nd line, but a little bit faster. 1, 2, ready, and okay, let's take a look at the 3rd line now. This one's going to skip around between those 2 strings a little bit. So here we go, nice and slow. 1, 2, ready, and 1st string, 2nd string. Okay, let's try it a little bit faster. So you got 1, 2, ready, and okay, Okay, let's play the whole exercise now, all the way through all 3 lines without stopping. Here you go. 1, 2, retti, and. First fret. Third fret. First fret. So that last note is a half note. It gets 2 counts. I didn't mention that. I mentioned we'd be doing all quarters, but that's okay. Sometimes we'll just hold out the last note too a little bit longer. So after you kind of get it and you're having it, it's nice to work it up and get it faster and faster, even as fast as you can get it accurately. Helps with that technical development. I'm going to play it one more time at a little bit faster tempo. Not as fast as I could play it, but just a little bit that might push you a little bit harder on it or a little bit faster, depending on your playing ability. So here you go. 1, 2, ready, go. We got that open. Third, first, open. Third, first, third, open. Second string. Okay, we'll flip on over to page 10 now and do number 2. Okay, so here we are on page 10 with numbers 2 and 3, as indicated there on the board. With number 2, this one does have a few spots, actually with number 2 and 3, where we're going to grab the 4th fret. And we grab that with our pinky. So fret 1, 2, 3, 4. Pinky is our 4th finger, and it plays the notes in the 4th fret. We really want to try and use our pinky to get those. We're going to get a lot more practice with this later. The first melodies that we play won't use it, but here, just sort of in the orientation fashion, we will be using it. So let's practice before we do number 2, just kind of working in that 4th fret a little bit. On that top string, we'll just go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll go 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Ready? And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then reverse 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do the opposite. We'll start on the 4th fret, go 4, 3, 2, 1, and back up. So we go ready, and we're going to have 4, 3, 2, 1. Now let's go back up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do the same thing on the 2nd string. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ready? And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now go 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's go the opposite. 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Aren't you glad I can count frontwards and backwards with 4 numbers? Here we go. 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's play number 2. 1, 2, ready, and oh, 1, 2, 3. Oh, ret, D, and. Let's do that much again. Ready? And. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. 2, ret, D, and. Okay, let's do this next section from there. So starting from measure 5 on that first line where we're starting on the open second string. We go ready? And open 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Next line open and then grab the 4. Let's do that much again. Those 3 bars. Ready? And open 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. Open 2, 4, 2. Okay, let's practice the next few. So starting on the second measure, the second line, we have the 3rd fret, 2nd string. Starting there, we go ret, D, and 3, 2, 1, 0, 3, 0, 2, 0, 1, 0. High string 3, 0, 2, 0, 1, 0, 0, 2, 3, 4. Let's do those again. Second measure of the second line, so starting with the 3rd fret, we go ready? And 3, 2, 1, 0, 3, 0, 2, 0, 1, 0. High string 3, 0, 2, 0, 1, 0, 0. Hopefully you feel a little bit like you're playing Guitar Hero, only I being your guitar hero, and we're actually playing the guitar, which is kind of cool. So let's play it all the way through number 2. 1, 2, ret, D, and O, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, open, 3, 2, 1, open, 2, 3, 4, and then second string. Open, 2, 4, 2, 3, 2, 1, 0, 3, 0, 2, 0, 1, 0. High string. 2, 3, 4. Now I cannot stress enough, I mentioned it before, but I can't stress enough the importance of using that index finger in the 1st fret, middle in the 2nd fret, ring finger in the 3rd fret, and pinky in the 4th fret, rather than jumping around and just using 1 or 2 strings. If you do, I can promise this will get so much easier, so much faster. You'll grow in your technique so much faster. We want to be equal employment opportunity employers of our fingers, so to speak. We want to use them all where they belong. Okay, so we're going to take it a little bit faster. Number 2. 1, 2, ret, D, and. 2, 3, 4. 2, 4. 2, 3, 4. Yes, and you could work it up as fast as you can get it accurately. Be really good for your hand development. Let's go on to number 3 now. So we're going to work on this one in sections a little bit as well. We'll just work on one line at a time to kind of get us oriented. Hopefully it's getting a little easier for you. Now as we're reading, we're going to be using the 3rd string. And that's one more string to try and sort out through all 6 lines that are there. But we'll go ahead and work just the first 4 measures of number 3 here for a moment. So we go red, D, and we have the open string for 2 counts, the open B string for 2 counts, then the open E string for 2 counts, the open G string for 2 counts, the open B string for 2, open E, and then the open G. 2, 3, 4. Again, ready? And first string for 2, second string for 2, first string for 2, third string for 2, second string for 2, first string for 2, third string, 3, 4. Okay, let's look at the next part. So we'll look at the last two measures of that line and then the first measure of the next line. So you go ret, T, and we have the open 2, open 2, and then O, 1, 2, 3, the open second string back to that third string. Let's do that again. We go 1, 2, ret, T, and open 2, open 2, O, 1, 2, 3, open second, open third. Okay, let's look at the next part. So the next part will be the second measure on that second line through the rest of that line. So starting on that second string, we got the open and then the first fret. So we go ret, T, and open, first fret, open, first fret, third, second, third, second, and then 4, 3, 2, 1, open, 2, open, 2, open third string, and then open high string. Okay, sorry when I said that 2 I may have thrown us off. I was counting as we got to those half notes. Let's do that much again. We go second measure of that second line. Ready? And open 1, open 1, 3, 2, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 1, open, 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 open. Okay, on the last line we do some jumping around. Let's practice with it. We'll just play the whole last line. Note that the first measures we start out, the first 3 measures we start out in quarter notes, but then we're going to have the half notes and then we get a whole note. Here we go. 1, 2, ret, T, and open, open. Let's do it again. 1, 2, ret, T, and open, open. Okay, let's go ahead and play the whole exercise, all 3 lines, nice and slow. We got 1, 2, ret, T, and open 2. 2, ret, T, and Okay, let's take it a little bit faster. 1, 2, ret, T, and open. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now we're going to go on over to page 11 and we're going to do some of these melodies. Yes! Okay, so here we are on page 11, starting with number 4, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. We get into these melodies. Now, we've got exercises 1 through 20 in this video. When I'm teaching lessons, I usually only do 1 or 2, sometimes 3 or 4, depending on how difficult they are, tablature songs per week, in between seeing somebody in lessons, or a couple between classes if the class runs a couple times a week. So, I certainly don't expect you to play numbers 1 through 20 with me. It just sort of is a great way to link these together in these videos. So it's good to just master one at a time, and you can just, use the video that way. Master one with me, work on it, and so on. And then when you're ready, you go on to the next one all the way through number 200. Imagine. Number 200 is pretty tricky. It's a theme from Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, just a piece of it, the exposition. And it's pretty cool. So we're going to have fun when we get there, but we're also going to have fun right now with Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So I'll work through each one of these. You've got the timestamps that come with the book on where things are located. You can always just use that part of the video as you work through these songs and exercises through the rest of the book, now that we are oriented and know how to read some tablature. So, number 4, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I am presuming that we're familiar with this. If you're not familiar with this song, it's okay. Fast forward or whatever, listen to me play it, get it in your ear, and then work on me right along with it. We're just going to go ahead and play through this at a slow tempo. All the way through. It starts on the open 3rd string, so that's 0 there. Here we go. 1, 2, retti, and we got open. Isn't it exciting? We just played our first song. Now you might have struggled through, maybe that was too fast for you. That's okay. Practice it at a slower tempo and get it up to when you can play it there. Maybe that was easy peasy and you're ready to play it faster. We're going to play it faster here together. So we want to get it up to a tempo where we might be able to sing this. If you feel like singing as you're playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, if you know those words, and you want to sing it as you're playing it, that's a great thing to do. Singing while playing actually helps as we're trying to play these things rhythmically. Also, as you're playing, you want to listen to how I'm playing it, try and match it as best you can and as accurately as you can. You want to be learning by ear while we're also using our eyes to sort of help us find where these sounds are located on the guitar. Okay, let's do it again. We're going to go 1, 2, retti, and... Okay, let's go on to number 5. We'll do When the Saints Go Marching In. Okay, so number 5, When the Saints Go Marching In. Starts on that 1st fret of the 2nd string. Once we can find where we start, then it helps us get going on this. We'll just go ahead and go for it. This one starts with a rest, technically. So we got rest. 2, 3, 4. I just shouted out the counts of the beats in that measure. which is kind of actually a pickup measure, because this is 3 beats that precedes where sort of the start of the form of the song is, where the chords come in, where we fill the top. And if we repeated the song, we would stick those 3 notes would fit right into the space of the last measure of the song if we were to repeat it over and over. And so it's not totally, that first measure is not really a full measure, though the rest kind of helps us orient where we're coming in on beats 2, 3, and 4. If we're looking at the actual notation, we see a double bar. Those little double bar markings back to each other help us mark the form of the song, and that helps us know where the actual first full complete measure is. The other one sort of picks up into it, gets us going. If you're playing with the chord book, you'll see that that happens a lot. We sing something and then we start strumming right at the top of the form. So we have that here. I make note of it, but more importantly, we're just going to go ahead and play it. So I will say rest, and then we will, to sort of count us in, I'll give us 3, 4, rest, and then we'll come in with those notes. So here you go. 3, 4, rest. 1, open, 1, 2, 3, 4, rest. 2, 3, 4, rest. 2, 3, 4, rest. 2, 2, 3. 3, 4, rest. 2. 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, and if we repeated, that's where we come back in with that. Oh, when the saints again. Now, hopefully you're using the right fingers and the right frets. And also, as you're playing these, the notes that are held out longer than a quarter note, so a half note, if we had a dotted half, which we'll see later, or the whole note, we want to try and hold it for the entire length, and that's why I kind of count out those beats of the measure the rest of the time that we have. I also am saying rest where the rests go. When we're resting, we want to try not to have the sound ringing over. So like that first thing, rest. 3, 2, just played that on the wrong fret, sorry, rest. 2, 3, 4, off. So the rest, I want to hold those notes out for that whole length of that whole note. That's what helps those melodies sound connected. Otherwise, it sounds like, oh, yeah. And maybe the little syncopation, that's kind of fun. But right now we want to try and hold those out by holding our fingers down on those frets. Okay, let's play it again. 3, 4, rest. 2, 3, 4, rest. 2, 3, 4, rest. 2, 3, 4, rest. 2. 3, 4, rest. 2. 2, 3, 4, 1, and we're off. Okay, so if you're worried about the rhythm at the same time, mostly just kind of play these songs intuitively, the way that you're familiar with them, or follow along with me. I'm going to play them the way they're written, specifically in the music notation, but you're free to like interpret them a little bit outside of that if you want to. Just get them kind of sounding good is the most important thing. But to really move along your progression as a musician, playing them the way I'm playing them and trying to hear how I'm playing them and playing them that way will really benefit you. We're going to play this one more time a little bit faster. So you got 3, 4, 1. 2, 3, 4. rest. 2, 3, 4, rest. 2, 3, 4, rest. 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, rest. 2. 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, it's nice in that song we get the dotted half note on the last line. We got quarter notes and whole notes and half notes. So we get to practice all those rhythms plus some rest. So this is great. Alrighty, we're going to flip on over to page 12. We'll do number 6. Okay, so number 6, London Bridge. We're just going to go for it here. I'll give us 1, 2, ready, and... Okay, let's try it a little bit faster. 1, 2, ready, and... Okay, we'll go on to number 7 now and do jumping bean. Okay, so here we are with number 7, jumping bean. This is the first one we've done in 3/4 time, so we're only going to have 3 beats per measure instead of 4 beats per measure. It'd be kind of a fun thing to do. We'll just go ahead and play it. I'll give us 3 beats of count in though, since we're in 3/4 time. So I'll give us 1, 2, 3, and then we'll be in with... Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. Now I'm going to point out a technique that I sometimes use. I used it throughout that. And that is when switching from string to string at the exact same fret, rather than lifting my finger back off the string to press down the next one, sometimes I'll just kind of roll it, flatten it out. This is one of the times that I don't necessarily play a pitch on the tip of my finger. But so from that 2, 2, 2 on the next string, I can actually lift my finger to do it, which is time consuming and sometimes just takes more effort. Or I can roll it, just kind of flatten it out. And I do that throughout this one. I've done it on a couple of other songs. That might be a technique you want to start to fit in, or right now you might just be worried about playing the guitar. Okay, we're going to play this one a little bit faster here. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. Okay, let's speed it up even more. It's a nice little technical challenge. All of these, you can get them as fast as you can, as accurately as you can. It's a good thing to do for your technique. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. Okay, we're going to go on over to page 13 and do number 8 now. Okay, so number 8, Red River Valley. Perhaps a familiar melody. If not, you'll be learning it here with me. So for the count off on this one, I'm going to give us 3, 4, 1, 2, since those first 2 counts are rests, as we have another pickup measure situation here. So then we'll be in with the open 3rd string to that 1st fret on that 2nd string. Here we go. 3, 4, rest, 2. 2. 2, 3, 4, rest, 2. 3, 4, rest, 2. 2 off. Okay, let's try it a little bit faster. 3, 4, 1, 2. 3, 4, rest, 2. 2, 3, 4, rest, 2. 4, rest, 2. 3, 4, 1, 2, off. Okay, on to number 9. Okay, so number 9, Hearts. Now this one's probably a less familiar melody, and that's okay. As we look kind of over it, we see that the rhythmic components are mostly quarter notes with the occasional half note. So shouldn't be too bad. We're kind of familiar with this sort of reading when we were doing the exercises anyway. Okay, nice and slow. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, let's take it a little bit faster. 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, let's do it once more, even faster. 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, use that rolling technique I mentioned a few times in that one. When switching from one string to the next in the same fret, we can just roll our fingers, kind of flatten it out. It kind of helps out. All right, let's flip on over to page 14 and we'll do number 10. Okay, so number 10, Mary Had a Little Lamb. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, let's take it a little bit faster. 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, let's take it even faster. 1, 2, ready, and. 2, 3, 4, off. Okay, it's so fun to play the guitar. Number 11, we'll do that one next. Ode to Joy. Ode to Joy, number 11. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and. Let's take it a little bit faster. 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, let's do it once more, even faster. Oh joy. 1, 2, ready, and. 2. Okay, we'll go on over to the next page. We'll do number 12, RLE. Alright, so number 12, RLE. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and. 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's take it a little bit faster. 1, 2, ready, and. 2, 3, 4, off. Okay, even faster. 1, 2, ready, and. Okay, we'll go on to number 13 now. Okay, so number 13, pay me my money down. 1, 2, ready, and... Okay, let's take it a little bit faster. 1, 2, ready, and... Okay, we'll flip the page over to page 16 and do number 14. Okay, so number 14, Viva la Amor, there on page 16. This one's in 3/4 time, and it's got a 1-beat pickup before we have that full measure. So I'm going to give us 3, 1, 2 as our count in, and then we'll grab that first note there. 3, 1, 2. Rest. Okay, let's take it a little bit faster. 3, 1, 2. Rest. Okay. How about even faster? 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Rest. Okay, on to number 15. Okay, so number 15, We Ever Pray for Thee. Now this one is on both pages 16 and 17. So when we get to the end of that second line on page 16, we need to continue over to the top of page 17. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and... Okay, let's do it again a little bit faster. 1, 2, ready, and... Okay, on to number 16. Okay, so number 16, The Man on the Flying Trapeze. This one's in 3/4 time, so I'm going to give us 3, 1, 2 as our count in since we have a 1-beat pickup there. So 3, 1, 2, and we're in. Here we go. 3, 1, 2. Okay, let's take it just a little bit faster. 3, 1, 2. Okay, even faster, just for fun. This is a great one to work on technique. 3, 1, 2. Okay, we'll flip the page on over and do number 17. Okay, so number 17, Down in the Valley. Now, with this one we have a new thing in written music, and that's a repeat sign. And so it means to repeat back. And I've got an example here up on the board. So we see these little dots thrown in, and this one's on the tablature. You can see it up on the actual standard music notation as well. But the two little dots are repeat signs. And so basically when we're playing the music and we come across one of these, think of them like little bumpers. They're going to bump us back in the opposite direction until we see the ones facing the other way, which bump us to go again. So we play the music, we hit them, we go back to where the closest ones facing the other direction are, and then we play it again, only this time we continue on. So with Down in the Valley, there is a repeat sign at the end of that last measure, which tells us to go back, and then we find that repeat sign again at the beginning of the first measure. So basically, those repeat signs for this particular song are just telling us to play the whole song twice. So that's what we'll do. We're in 3/4 time. I'll give us that 3-beat count in. So 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3, 1, 2, rest. One, two, rest. 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 Okay, let's do it again, a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3. 3. Repeat. Okay, third time, even faster. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we'll go on to the next one. Okay, so number 18, Teasdale. This one's on both pages 18 and 19. So when we get to the end of that third line on page 18, we need to go on over to the top of page 19. This one has a 1-beat pickup. It's in 4/4 time. I'll give us a 3-beat count in, and then we're in on beat 4. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's take it faster. 1, 2, 3. Okay, on to number 19, Bell. Okay, so number 19 on page 19. That's kind of cool how that worked out. So this one's Bell. It's in 3/4 time with a 1-beat pickup. I'll give us 3, 1, 2, and we'll be in with that open third string. Here we go. 3, 1, 2. Okay, let's do it again, a little bit faster. 3, 1, 2. Okay, over to page 20 to do number 20. Number 20, Jolly Good Fellow. This one's in 3/4 time. I'll give us 3-beat count in. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 3 off. Okay, let's do it again, but faster. So you got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 off. Okay. So that wraps us up for this video. Congratulations on making it this far. Numbers 1 through 20 to have 17 songs plus those initial 3 exercises to be reading tablature and able to play songs that way. Huge accomplishment. Congrats. If this is easy for you, then just keep plummeting forward, keep going forward. You will get to spots that will probably challenge you. And if this is still challenging, that's okay. Just keep working on it, little bits at a time each day. It'll get easier. The technique will solidify, and your ability to recognize where to put your fingers when you see those numbers on those lines in that tablature, it'll get easier and easier. In the next lesson, the big focus is going to be on adding the pinky. So in the next video, we'll be doing numbers 21 through 30, where we're playing melodies similar to the types of melodies that we've been playing with similar rhythms, but they're going to involve using that 4th fret, so using that pinky. We did that just a little bit with numbers 2 and 3, but it'll be a main focus of these next ones. Really good for us to develop the pinky. Keep having fun. I sure love playing the guitar. Delighted to have you with me. We'll see you in that next one. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. For help with other guitar playing skills, check out more of my method books and the numerous lessons available as part of my online academy here on YouTube. You can find more information about me and my products at kristenbromley.com. Take care.